The warning came out of the dark like a breath that didn't belong to anyone. "That is forbidden. Don't look." Evan Cole froze beside the old fence line, his boots sunk in the mud of a spring thaw. He had lived on this land in eastern Kentucky his whole life, long enough to know the sounds of night, the owls, the distant creek, the wind threading through sycamores. This voice was none of those things. It carried a weight, like it had been waiting for him. He held the lantern higher. The light shook, and he told himself it was just nerves. The Cole Ranch had been quiet since his father passed, too quiet. Cows had wandered off. Fences had been found neatly mended where no one had worked. Once, he'd woken to hoofprints circling the house, perfect and evenly spaced, as if measured. He should have gone back inside. Instead, he stepped through the broken gate and followed the path toward the hollow. The land dipped there, a bowl of black soil and stone that never froze in winter and never dried in summer. His grandfather used to say it remembered everything. As a kid, Evan had laughed. As an adult, he avoided it. The voice came again, closer now. "Don't look." At the center of the hollow stood a shape wrapped in cloth. Layers and layers of pale fabric, tied with twine, tall as a man. It wasn't there yesterday. The cloth fluttered without wind, edges stained dark, not with blood but with earth, as if it had been buried and pulled back out. Evan's heart thudded. He knew the local stories. Everyone did. Some things were left covered for a reason. Some sights changed you. He lifted the lantern. "Please," the voice said, and now it sounded like many voices speaking together. "What is kept to keep you." Evan hesitated. His father's words echoed from years ago. If you don't face what the land asks, it'll take more than you can afford. Back then, Evan had thought it was about work, storms, debt, drought. Standing in the hollow, he realized his father had meant something older. "I just want to understand," Evan said to the night. "I won't touch it." The cloth shifted, as if something beneath it had drawn a slow breath. Against every warning, Evan reached out and pulled the top layer aside. The lantern light fell on a surface that wasn't skin and wasn't stone. It shimmered like wet bark, etched with lines that resembled roots and veins at once. Symbols crawled across it, rearranging themselves as he watched. His stomach twisted. The thing under the cloth wasn't a creature exactly. It was a threshold, a boundary made visible. Memory hit him then. Not his own, but the land's. He saw the hollow before fences, before roads. He saw hands burying something precious and terrible, wrapping it in cloth, binding it with promises. He saw his ancestors standing in a circle, faces set with resolve, choosing to guard what could not be destroyed. Evan staggered back. "I didn't mean." The cloth fell away completely. The voices rose, not angry but urgent. "You have looked. Now you must do." The unthinkable choice pressed down on him with the weight of generations. The thing beneath the cloth was waking because it was being forgotten. The ranch had thinned. Neighbors sold off parcels. Old rituals, simple things like walking the boundary at dawn, offering water to the stones, had stopped. Without tending, the boundary frayed. "What do you want?" Evan asked. "To be finished," the voices said. "Or to be fed." His chest tightened. Finished meant releasing what had been bound, letting it spill back into the world, changing it forever. Fed meant sacrifice, not of blood, but of life as he knew it. He thought of the ranch house, of mornings with coffee on the porch, of plans to leave Kentucky someday. He thought of his father, who had stayed when he could have gone. "Evan," stepped forward. "I'll tend it," he said. "I'll keep it." The ground trembled, just slightly. Approval, relief. The symbols stilled. The surface beneath the cloth cooled, becoming dull, heavy, real. "Then bind again," the voices said. With knowing, Evan gathered the fallen cloth and wrapped it tight, layer by layer, hands shaking but steadying as he worked. He tied the twine with care, knots learned without remembering when. As the last knot cinched, the hollow exhaled. The night sounds returned. When he finished, dawn had crept up behind the hills. Evan returned to the house, changed his boots, and wrote letters he had been putting off, canceling plans, renewing leases, ordering fence posts. He marked the calendar with new habits. Dawn walks, water poured, names spoken aloud so they wouldn't be lost. Days passed. The ranch settled. Cows returned on their own. Grass thickened where it had been thin. Evan slept less but dreamed clearer. Sometimes, at night, he stood on the porch and looked toward the hollow. He never uncovered the cloth again. He didn't need to. He knew what was there now. Not a monster, not a miracle, but a responsibility. Neighbors noticed the change. They asked questions. Evan gave careful answers. "It's just work," he said. "Things last if you tend them." Years later, when a storm tore through the valley and spared the ranch, people remembered the old stories. They began to walk their boundaries again, to keep what needed keeping. And deep in the hollow, wrapped and bound, the forbidden thing slept, seen once, fed by care, held by a man who had looked when he was told not to, and did the unthinkable by choosing to stay.